I'm Salad and I saw the Twilight Zone Season 2 Episode 22, Long Distance Call. It is directed by James Sheldon, written by Charles Beaumont. If you haven't seen this episode, I will spoil it for you. This episode starts and we're following a family. We got two parents, a young boy who's 5 years old, and we got a grandma. The grandma and the little boy are very close, but it's very clear that the grandmother is about to die. It even says it in the opening narrations, like, as it's obvious, Mr. Death is looming over the household. In that great way that Rod Serling does his opening narrations and closing narrations. But of course, she ends up getting really sick. She goes up to the room, and then we have the little boy, although the parents are like, no, just leave your grandmother alone. She's very sick right now, but you have to leave her alone. And the little boy is like, I want to see Grandma. And of course, with his insistence, they go up and see the grandma, and the grandma is like, I want to take you where I'm going. And the little boy is like, where is that? She's like, far away. And then she just ends up dying right there with the little boy watching. And it's like, okay, this is already pretty metal. I really like seeing how we establish the relationship between the grandmother and the little boy, and it's done really well and also very succinctly done, to the point that when she dies, I feel for the little kid. I'm like, dang, that little boy, he lost his grandmother, and now they have to teach him about death. And I'm like, man, he's so young. There was a gift that the grandmother gave this little boy at the very, very beginning. It was his birthday. Gives him a telephone, and the way that she speaks is like, you could talk to me anywhere, even if I'm gone. And like, okay, so this telephone is clearly going to be used as a way to talk to the grandmother past her death. And of course that happens, and the little boy starts using the telephone, and the little boy is talking to somebody on the phone. The parents are like, who are you talking to? I'm like, it's clearly the grandmother. And the little boy's like, I'm talking to Grandma. And it's like, oh no, what is Grandma saying to you? Well, she wants me to come with, she wants me to be there with her. And it's like, no, she's going to convince you to run into traffic or something. And that's exactly what happens. He runs into traffic. He normally doesn't play in the street, but he goes, he doesn't know why he went into front of this traffic, but luckily there's a very cautious driver, goes to this little boy's house, goes inside, talks to the parents, is like, yo, what happened? You need a doctor on him or something. What's going on with this little kid? And then he's like, someone told me to do it, after he said, I don't know. And it's like, okay, fascinating. They immediately are like, but the nanny, why'd you tell him? She's like, I didn't say anything. He was talking in his room all day on that little toy telephone. So the mother, hearing him on the toy telephone once again at night, picks it up and starts listening, and it's the grandma. The grandma's voice, and she's like, oh my god, that's the grandma. Oh my goodness. Ah! Right? And it starts freaking out. And that proceeds the little boy to go run. And then just goes run out of the house and is face down in the pool. But luckily they're like, oh my goodness, where'd you go? Like 5 seconds after he just leaves. And so they're quickly like finding him, like, where is he at? Where is he at in the pool? Oh my goodness! And then they call an ambulance, and the ambulance is like, I don't know, the sun's not doing too hot. And so we got the father, by the way, the grandmother is his mother, and so we got the father talking to the grandmother on the phone, pleading like, please, just please, let him live. If you love him at all, please, let him live. And he's pleading to her. He's like, Mom, please. And I guess the reason why the grandmother and the little boy are so close is because the grandmother, she had 2 kids die. And so we have the third kid being the father, and the youngin', she's now taken care of like it is her own sons that she lost. It's like a restart, so that's why they're so close. The grandmother takes the little boy out of her grasp. If somehow, I guess she's the Reaper? Whatever. Takes the little boy out of the grasp. And then the little boy's fine, and they have a little hug and embrace. And it's a swell episode. It's very emotional. There's a lot of emotions going on. There's a lot of tension, like, oh boy, is the little boy going to live? I like seeing everything happen, but I will say this is a little predictable. This is easily seen. However, the part where the grandma lost 2 of her little boys makes sense why she has such a relationship with the little boy now. It's cool that the kid's like, yeah, I know about death. I'm like, you're 5. How do you know about death? That's not like a thing you know about. How old were you when you first learned about death? I think I was like 9 or something. It was like a dog dying. Whatever. Who cares? But anyway, it was just a fun episode. I liked the emotions. The emotions were very strong in this, and it's hard to just watch this without feeling any sort of emotion. I really like being in the house with all of them. Man, I really wish that modern stuff were filmed more like how classic television was filmed and classic movies were filmed, like in a set. Like, this is a set. And because it's a set, I feel like I'm inside of it. And oh my goodness, I like the room. It's designed for values. I wonder what it'd be like, the colors and everything. What it would be like just being there in person. And the colors, the specific colors have specific values. So like, you want to make something red or green or blue, you do a different color, but like kind of be like the same shade. And so it's like, oh, that's blue, that's purple, whatever. Like, I know WandaVision, they had to do a blue face, even though he's red. He had to do a blue face in order to get the exact value needed to appear on camera for the amount of contrast that they have, and for it to look like red. So like the eye translates it as red. So it's pretty interesting how production works, stuff like that. Let me know what you think of this episode. I really enjoyed it. I gotta give it, it's a solid 8 out of 10. If you like this review, watch another on the platform likes at $20 Dinos, patreon.com/ASEPresents, one movie review for one month. Go to link to support the daily greatness of all them daily movies, so go here. And until next time, mint salad, I'll see you later. My salad croutons and bacon bits. And even though that little kid can't see that grandma, I'm gonna see her myself. Goodbye. Alright, cars, hit me. Oh, there's a car. Oh, good. Please, hit me, car. I'll stand here, wait for you to do it. I want to see Grandma. Oh, my car went the other way. Oh, great. I guess I'm not gonna see Grandma today.